Mic check 1 2 1 2 or mic check 110. Ha. Okay, sorry about that. All right, this is episode 110 of Downtime Podcast. If you've been tuning in this past week, I have released an episode every single day, and we've come to the end of Summer of Alyssa. This is the 5th and final episode, and so this is going to release on a Friday. This is actually recorded on a Friday, the Friday before. And I really didn't know where I wanted to take this because I started the week on Monday with a regular podcast, followed by a spoilercast on Black Mirror, and then Danganronpa, and then a history of The Sims. So I wanted this to be a side quest, but I wasn't sure what exactly I was going for. So, you know what? It is Friday. My head hurts. Work was a lot harder than I expected. So, I Googled 20 random questions, and we're going to play a game of 20 questions. I am going to read through this whole article, and I'm going to answer every single question. It's from www.herinterest.com/20 random questions to get to know someone. We're gonna have fun with it. It's gonna be a good time. It's the last episode of hold on. Yeah. Okay. What? Sorry about that, y'all. I got kicked out of the previous room that I had booked for this. It's lunchtime though. I'm recording this during lunch, and you know that work sucks when you have a day that everyone is working through lunch and there's meetings during lunch. So I am in a small room, and we're just gonna record this quickly before something else happens. Okay. Question number 1. Where would your dream holiday be? I think right now, my dream holiday, 2 locations. So right now, one of them is Italy and the coast of Italy. I don't exactly know. I haven't done too much research on Italy to kind of confirm what that would mean. But, like going to the island of Sicily, being near the Mediterranean Sea, that is one of the places that is currently my dream vacation. And then my other dream holiday, it would have to be Australia. I really, really want to go to Australia. I want to go to Australia one day and be on the East Coast, be in Sydney, explore all the different areas, see the barrier reef before anything happens to it, explore, see all the wildlife. It would just be a great place to go to. So dream holiday at the moment is coast of Italy and coast of Australia. What sound do you love? I don't know if this is cheating, but I really like the sound of the saxophone. All saxophones, so soprano sax, alto sax, baritone sax. I love the way that instrument sounds. I love jazz music, especially love jazz hip hop. And that is by far the best sounding instrument in an orchestra, in a band, in anything. And I used to be in band, and I always loved the saxophone solo. I am very inclined to it. I like people like Kenny G and the song Careless Whisper, the saxophone solo. I love that song unironically. I genuinely really like the song Careless Whisper. I think it's actually my alarm when I wake up in the morning. I'm not kidding. Like, that's actually my alarm. I really like that instrument. And for a non-music answer, I'd say I like the sound when you open up a bottle of soda or when you open up a can of soda, the click, and then the refreshing sound of a little bit of the carbon coming out and hearing the fizz as it settles, I think is a very satisfying and refreshing sound. Okay. Question number 3. If you were a dinosaur, what kind of dinosaur would you be? Triceratops, because it has 3 horns and it is the best dinosaur. Question number 4. If you could be any fictional character, who would you choose? If I could be any fictional character, let's go with Princess Mononoke. I think Princess Mononoke is one of my favorite fictional movies, one of my favorite animated movies of all time, and I always really liked her. I think she's very strong. I really like her outfit. I've always wanted to be her for Halloween. Like one day I will create that outfit for my Halloween costume, and I just really like her and what she represents. So we're going to go with her for now. If you were a superhero or supervillain, what powers would you have? These are a lot, like, this is one of those things where you read the question and you think it's easy and you think these are generic icebreaker questions, but I don't know where to go with this. Okay. If I was a superhero or a supervillain, my power would be levitation, probably, and just being able to control moving things with my mind. I would love to do some random stuff with that, and kind of like the power. I think the power of the mind. The power of the mind interests me more than anything physical, like being strong enough to lift something or being able to fly. I want to be mentally aware and I want to have that capability of thinking something and it can happen. So obviously the answer of levitation went to a different direction, but just like something that involves using my brain power to create an action. If you could breed 2 totally different animals together, what new animal would you create? It would be a lion turtle. So it would be a turtle that has a really fluffy mane. So imagine a huge Galapagos tortoise and it was super fluffy on the head. It would be the best animal. What other languages can you speak? I cannot speak well any other language. I know very basic conversation of Japanese and Spanish, and my mother tongue, which is called Ilocano, I cannot speak it, but I can understand it almost fluently, and I can answer back to you in English. It's one of those where I didn't learn the language growing up, and I know that's bad, but I understand it at least. Do you love or hate roller coasters? This is a interesting question because I like roller coasters and I really enjoy the thrill of going up the coaster and then the free fall and then the feeling that you have in your stomach and the feeling that you, or just the exhilaration. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I do. But this is what I don't like about roller coasters, and I say this as someone who is just not that fit anymore, but the whiplash of your neck with roller coasters I do not like. I prefer the roller coasters where it goes all the way around your upper body so that your neck stays put. But for example, roller coasters where you have to pull the bar down and your neck is exposed and you can just kind of move all over the place, I don't like that. So I like roller coasters, but I want my neck to be secured when I'm on a roller coaster. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? pretty generic answer for a Filipino is I've eaten a embryo duck before called balut. It's very common in the Philippines and Vietnam. Do you collect anything? I collect ticket stubs of places that I've been to. It's not really a collection, but I like to take pictures when I travel. And after I travel, I actually print that picture out and I put it on my wall, or I put it in a scrapbook, or I just keep it. What would be in your dream sandwich? Okay. A mixed green that has like a little bit of lettuce, a little bit of spinach, a little bit of arugula, chopped up a bit. You have bacon, you have grilled onions, you have provolone or some sort of white cheese, like mozzarella also works, Gruyere, any of the white cheeses. And then you also have avocado in it. You have a tomato, and you have a fried egg, like an over easy yolky egg in it. And any bread that's toasted, but it's soft. So not French baguette, because fuck French baguette. That's like the worst fucking bread on the planet. And it's one of the reasons why I don't like banh mi. It has to be like a warm but soft bread that you can bite into. Okay, did I skip over anything? Nope. All right. If you could meet anyone living or dead, who would you meet? If I could, okay, so this is just coming off of what my current trends and everything that I like at this moment. If I could meet one person right now, it would be Hasan Minhaj, because I love that guy. I just saw his stand-up one-man show on Netflix, Homecoming King. I relate to it a lot, and he's a very great narrator. I think he's not only like, do I think he's funny, but I just think he's very passionate in the stories that he tells, and I love it. He's a Northern California baby. He went to the college that I went to, and I really like his work right now, and I just think he's a very cool guy, and he just gets it. He gets the Northern California swag. He understands, and I really like that about him. I'd love to meet him. What was your favorite cartoon growing up? When I was growing up, it would probably be Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold was on this channel, Nickelodeon, and that was my favorite show growing up. Like, I know the ins and outs of that show very well. And in my middle school, beginning of high school years, I would say Avatar: The Last Airbender. So let's go with those two. What's the coolest thing you've ever been for Halloween? I was two probably. So one would be Ash Ketchum, because I have the hat. I have Ash Ketchum's hat, and I had my costume in high school. And then when I was a senior in college, I was Quail Man, which is from another Nickelodeon show, Doug. What's the best gift you've ever received? Ooh. Man, this is gonna sound pretty lame, maybe, but I like when I receive gifts that are letters, or I receive postcards. I really like reading what someone did on their trip, or in the gift itself, if you wrote something in the card. I like that type of stuff. I actually read it. Non-sentimental, the best physical gift that I ever received was my PlayStation 2, because it was from my cousin, and I really like the setup during that Christmas was just so epic and made me really happy. But this is like basically my closest cousin. At this point, I always asked him to borrow. He's a lot older than me. He's my cousin, but basically an older brother. So I asked him to borrow his PlayStation 2. He had the bulky PlayStation 2, the very first one. And I kept borrowing it. And then it kept going back and forth between his house and my house. And then basically what happened was sometime in October or November, before December ended, he took back his PlayStation. And then I didn't get it back for a while. And it was kind of like, I had a few things that I wanted to play. So I was just like patiently waiting for that to happen. And then on Christmas, there's a huge box. Like there's a really like there it's a moving box and it's from him. And I'm like, what did my cousin get me that is this huge? It turns out that the box was a face, and it was a facade. It was stuffed with all of this packing shit, but the actual gift was a lot smaller than this moving box. It was like a bulk buy-in box that it was in, which is it's like a box where you put a lot of freight in. And then, but really the gift was like this, like this small box, and it was a PS2. And the context and the setup for it was just like one of the best physical gifts that I ever received. What ice cream flavors do you love or hate? My favorite flavors of ice cream are cookies and cream, s'mores if they have s'mores is pretty rare, but if they have that, and then birthday cake. And ice cream flavors that I hate, I think chocolate is the worst ice cream flavor. I don't understand why people like chocolate ice cream. There's something about chocolate ice cream that is not chocolate. It's not regular chocolate. Like I eat a piece of chocolate candy, and it doesn't give me the same effect that I get from chocolate ice cream. I don't fucking understand. Are you a dog person or a cat person? I'm a dog person because I'm allergic to cats. And I love dogs. I love Akitas. I love Chow Chows. What's your fondest childhood memory? I want to say like this was like a span of years, but basically what would happen at my school was we had something called field day every spring. And what field day is it's a day where I went to a kindergarten through 8th grade school in the US. So what 8th graders did for all the other grades is they set up this kind of day called field day where there's obstacle courses and there's a lot of different things that you could do. There's like water guns, there's like In-N-Out went to our school and served lunch, and like as a kid, that was the best day because you got to hang out with your friends. You weren't doing anything school related. Everything was a little bit competitive, and I'm a competitive person. And it was always a good time when you had water sports as a kid. Would you rather be poor and happy or rich and miserable? I would rather be poor and happy. All right. And then this is the last question. And I go, bless. Sorry about that. This is the last question. What would be your first ideal date? I don't really have a first ideal date. My only thing is the first thing for an ideal date is it has to be there has to be talking during the date in some way. Like it can't be a date where two of us are present at an event, but none of us are talking to each other and then we call it a day. Like we have to talk to each other. All right. And that was 20 questions with Alyssa to end the summer of Alyssa. Thank you for listening. That was a very uneventful last question. Hold on. I didn't like that last question. That's like a fucking question that you ask at the beginning and you save the exciting stuff for later. So, my God. Okay. I went on a website called conversationstartersworld.com. Wow, there's actually websites for this. And I went to random question generator, and this is the very first question that appeared I gotta sneeze again. Okay, no, I'm okay. So this is the very first question that appeared, and this is officially the last question of this podcast. Would you rather live full-time in an RV or full-time on a sailboat? You see, that is a way better question. And the answer is I would rather live full-time in an RV. While I love water and I like the idea of sailing around the world, I don't think that a sailboat is big enough to handle the waves that are going to come at you. Like, it's going to be wavy back and forth, and I don't think that's going to be good for my motion sickness. But with an RV, you're just driving on flat land, or, sometimes you're driving up a mountain. You're guaranteed, like, a flat area, and I feel like an RV is just more self-sustaining. Like, you can take an RV and drive near the water, and then that will be suffice. All right, that's it. This has been 21 Questions with Alyssa. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope all of you had a good time. I hope all of you enjoyed this random episode of Sidequest. We're going to come back at you with episode 111. We're going to talk about judgment. Jeremy's going to be back. It's going to be a good time. Thank you so much for listening. And if you listened to all 5 episodes of the Summer of Alyssa, then you did it. We did it. We did it, fam. Episode 110, the 5th and final episode of Summer of Alyssa. Peace.